Why do people stab you in the back, even when you've done nothing but help them? Why do friends become enemies and loyalty vanish overnight? Today, we break down the brutal truth, why people betray you, what you're doing wrong, and how to finally stay 10 steps ahead of those who smile with a dagger. You think they betrayed you because they were angry, because they were hurt, because something went wrong between you. That's what you want to believe, but the truth, the cold, silent truth, is this: people do not betray because of emotion. They betray because of opportunity. In this world, emotion is decoration. It's used to justify actions, not to cause them. People switch sides not when they're upset, but when the benefits of leaving you outweigh the benefits of staying loyal to you. It's a transaction, nothing more, nothing less. And yet, most people never see it coming, because they're focused on how others feel instead of what others calculate. He didn't betray you because he hated you. She didn't turn on you because of a disagreement. They didn't lie to you out of confusion. They saw something better and they took it, and in most cases, they had been thinking about it for a while. Betrayal is never spontaneous. It's not a spark of emotion. It's a plan. Long before the knife touches your back, it's measured, it's weighed, it's justified internally. They convince themselves it's the right thing to do. And why not? They found reasons, logical, strategic, profitable reasons. You see, loyalty is not a sacred bond. It's not a divine agreement carved in stone. Loyalty is conditional. It's based on how much you can offer and for how long. If you can no longer provide protection, value, power, or comfort, loyalty weakens. If someone else offers more, loyalty ends, and it doesn't matter what you've done in the past. You could have saved their life, paid their bills, helped them rise. In the court of self-interest, history is irrelevant. Only present gain matters. This is why kings are betrayed by their closest advisors, why best friends become enemies, why family turns cold. They do not act on love or hate. They act on leverage. Whoever has more of it wins them. The mistake most people make is assuming betrayal is about you, that you did something wrong, that you failed in some way. No, most betrayal isn't about your weakness. It's about their ambition. They want more recognition, more control, more security, and you're either in the way or just not part of the new plan. When someone betrays you, you must understand. They've already run the numbers. They've compared you to their new alliance, their new vision, their new prize, and you didn't come out on top. You were useful once, but now you're just in the way. They chose a path, and it didn't include you. And here's the twisted part. They might even feel bad. Guilt might stir in them, but only for a moment, because the prize is more powerful than the discomfort. Because the human mind is wired to justify betrayal when survival, gain, or dominance is at stake. They'll tell themselves you deserved it, that it was necessary, that it's just how things had to go. And just like that, your years of loyalty, sacrifice, and support gone. That is the law of power. That is the logic of betrayal. The world rewards those who can play the game coldly, those who recognize that alliances shift, that loyalty bends, and that every person you trust is already balancing a mental scale of what they get from you versus what they could get elsewhere. And if you don't understand this early, you become the one blindsided, the one shocked, the one left asking, why would they do this to me? The answer is simple: because they could. Because they had something to gain, and you were no longer the most valuable offer on the table. Keep watching, because the next truth is even more painful. You gave them the weapon they used to destroy you. Do you want to know the most brutal truth about betrayal? It's not just that they turned on you, it's that they used your own hands to do it. Because betrayal, in its rawest form, doesn't come from strangers. It doesn't come from outsiders. It comes from the people you let in, from the ones you trusted, the ones you protected, the ones you empowered. You gave them the weapon and they used it. Every secret you shared, every door you opened, every vulnerability you exposed in the name of closeness, of friendship, of love, of alliance. That's what they used to hurt you. They didn't have to spy on you. They didn't need to break in or manipulate their way through the shadows. You invited them, you welcomed them into your circle, into your world, and you, yes, you handed them the exact tools they needed to destroy your position. You gave them your patterns, your weak spots. You told them who you feared, who you envied, who you trusted. You showed them how to reach you, how to manipulate you emotionally. You made them powerful, but here's the irony. You did it thinking it made you closer. That trust was a virtue. That openness was strength. That if you were loyal, others would be loyal too. You believed that being transparent would breed loyalty, but it bred leverage. Because trust, in the hands of the wrong person, is not connection. It's a weapon, and they didn't even have to force it out of you. You gave it to them. You talked. You overshared. You let your guard down because you thought loyalty guaranteed safety. But understand this. The most dangerous people are not the ones who fight you directly. It's the ones who sit quietly beside you, taking notes, listening, smiling, waiting. They don't strike when they're weak. They wait until they know everything about you, your strengths, your fears, your limits, and once they've studied you long enough, once they know exactly how to break you, that's when the betrayal begins, and it won't be loud. It'll be silent, precise, clean. They'll go after your reputation using your own words. They'll shift your allies by quietly revealing the things you trusted them with. They'll steal your position because they know where you're not looking. They won't need to lie, because you already gave them the truth. You became predictable. You became soft. You believed that past loyalty secured future protection. You believed that honesty guaranteed respect. And so, you fed them your entire playbook. And now, you wonder how they pulled it off so easily. Because you trained them to beat you. You exposed everything thinking it made you brave, thinking it made you human, but all it did was give them the upper hand. Think about the betrayals in your life. Really think, was it a friend who suddenly turned cold? A partner who used your pain against you? A colleague who outmaneuvered you? Now ask yourself, who told them how to get to you? Who told them what would break you? Who gave them the map? You did. You handed them the information. You let them close without testing their loyalty. You gave them the key to your gates, and then turned your back, thinking they'd protect you. That's not strategy, that's suicide. The truth is, most people are not betrayed by enemies. They're betrayed by themselves, by their own carelessness, their own hunger for connection, their own inability to recognize danger dressed as friendship. And it's not just emotional weakness, it's strategic blindness. You assumed that if someone stood beside you, they were on your side. You assumed that shared laughter meant shared loyalty, but all it meant was proximity. And proximity is power. The people closest to you are the ones who can hurt you the most, not because they're evil, but because you've made it easy. You gave them the passwords, the stories, the routines, the triggers. You gave them everything they needed to crush you. And when they did, you looked shocked. But this isn't a story about heartbreak. This is a story about miscalculation. You trusted too soon. You spoke too freely. You moved without caution. And now you wonder why the blade went so deep. You believe loyalty is forever. That if someone stands with you today, they'll stand with you tomorrow. That if someone defends you when you're weak, they'll stay when you're strong. But here's what no one tells you until it's too late. Loyalty has an expiry date. People will promise you forever. They'll call you brother. They'll say, "I've got your back till the end." And they mean it in that moment. But loyalty is not timeless. It doesn't live in stone. It lives in conditions. It survives under pressure only if it's still profitable, still useful, still convenient. The moment loyalty becomes difficult, the moment standing beside you comes at a cost, that's when the truth comes out. Not when things are easy, not when you're winning. Loyalty isn't tested in comfort, it's tested in chaos, and that's when you see it start to decay. Because behind every loyal face, there's a question burning silently. What am I getting out of this? They might not say it out loud. They may not even admit it to themselves, but it's there, always. When you rise, they're beside you. When you shine, they're proud of you. But what happens when your light fades, when you fall into conflict? When staying loyal to you could damage their reputation, their goals, their comfort, that's when you'll see how conditional their loyalty really was. Not built on character, built on circumstance, because loyalty is a currency. And people spend it only while it still benefits them. The moment it costs too much, they pull out. This is why kings are betrayed by their own generals, why business empires collapse from inside, why best friends suddenly turn distant, cold, silent. Because something shifted and the value of standing beside you dropped. Maybe you made a mistake, maybe your influence declined, maybe someone else whispered a better offer in their ear. It doesn't matter. All that matters is the calculation, and when the math changes, so does their allegiance. That's why the most dangerous illusion is to believe that loyalty is a lifetime contract. It isn't. It's a rental agreement, and it expires the moment the terms are no longer in their favor. You could have helped them rise. You could have sacrificed everything to protect them, but that was yesterday, and people don't pay loyalty to the past. They only invest in the present advantage. They will betray you smiling, not because they want to hurt you, but because staying with you now limits their path forward, and they'll justify it. I had to protect myself. It wasn't personal. I had no choice, but there's always a choice. They just chose progress over principle, power over memory, self-preservation over honor. You'll be shocked. You'll say, but I was always there for them. You'll remind them of everything you did, everything you gave, every battle you fought at their side. And they'll nod, they'll thank you, but they still won't stay because the game has changed, and loyalty, once a shield, has now become a liability in their eyes. This is why you must never depend on loyalty. Never assume that just because someone is with you today, they'll be there tomorrow. You must build systems, not sentiments. You must create fear, not just friendship. You must control the cost of betrayal, make it higher than the reward. Otherwise, you'll find yourself abandoned, not because you failed them, but because you could no longer offer what someone else did. Loyalty ends not when the heart changes, but when the opportunity shifts. And those who were once loyal will vanish like smoke the moment they smell something stronger, safer, richer. You can beg, you can reason, you can remind them of the history, but history doesn't hold power. Position does. And if yours weakens, so does their allegiance. Loyalty, in the real world, is transactional. It exists until replaced by something more valuable. And if you fail to understand this, you won't just be betrayed. You'll be replaced silently, quickly, without warning, by someone who offers them a better future than you do in the present. There are only two positions in every relationship, every alliance, every conversation. You are either in control, or you are being controlled. There is no in between. You think you're equal. You think you both respect each other. You think you're simply being kind, fair, open. But behind every word, every gesture, every exchange, there is a game of power being played. And if you're not the one guiding it, directing it, tilting the board in your favor, then the board is being tilted against you. People are always looking for leverage. Always, even the ones closest to you. Especially the ones closest to you, because proximity is power and familiarity is opportunity. The moment you give someone emotional influence over you, the moment they know what makes you feel safe or scared or angry, you are no longer in control. You're reacting, and whoever controls your reactions controls you. That's how betrayal is born, not out of sudden hatred, but out of slow manipulation. They start by studying you. They listen, they nod. They agree, they take notes quietly, like a strategist preparing a war. They learn how to disarm you with compliments, how to provoke you with silence, how to make you question your own value with a few carefully placed words. And all the while, you think they're just being honest, just being human, just being real. But what they're really doing is mastering you, because control isn't about volume. It's not about dominance on the surface. It's about positioning. Control means you set the tone, you decide what gets shared and what gets withheld. You choose when to speak and when to let silence do the work. You calculate, not react. Most people have no strategy. They move through life begging to be understood, to be accepted, to be loved. They overshare, they over-explain. They try to prove they're good, and in doing so, they hand over the reins. They give away their emotional center. They show their patterns, their triggers, their desperation, and anyone watching closely can now pull their strings. This is how people control you without you ever realizing it. They use your empathy. They use your fear of being disliked. They use your hunger for validation. They will test you with disrespect, just to see how far they can push. They'll ignore your boundaries just to measure how easily you bend. They'll pretend to need you just to see how addicted you are to being needed. And once they've mapped out your behavior, once they know what you'll do, how you'll respond, where your pride lives, they own you. This is why you must reverse the game. You must become the one who listens but reveals nothing, who observes everything but reacts to nothing, who speaks not to connect, but to command. Control means building an emotional fortress so strong that nothing enters without permission. Control means understanding that love, respect, loyalty, these are not gifts. They are weapons, and you must decide who is allowed to hold them. Because the moment someone else is holding the weapon of your emotions, your trust, your identity, they don't need to betray you. They already own you, so you must control what others know, control what others expect, control what version of yourself they see, because the version they see is the version they will try to manipulate. If they see you as predictable, they will build traps around your patterns. If they see you as emotionally needy, they will dangle affection as bait. If they see you as desperate for peace, they will threaten you with chaos. And you'll fold again and again, not because you are weak, but because you are unaware. The unaware are always controlled. The uncalculated are always cornered. The kind without caution are always betrayed. Control is not cruelty. Control is protection. Control is the art of survival in a world where smiling faces often hide silent agendas. And if you do not take control of your image, your access, your information, your boundaries, someone else will. And once they do, you won't even realize you're being directed, because they won't shout commands. They'll whisper insecurities. They'll smile while they pull you apart, and you'll follow, willingly, blindly, foolishly. Because you forgot the first rule of power. If you're not the one in control, you're being controlled by someone who is. So now you understand. Betrayal doesn't come from hatred. It comes from calculation. It isn't chaos, it's a strategy. And you weren't simply unlucky. You were unprepared. They betrayed you not because of who you are, but because of what you offered and what you stopped offering. You gave them your trust, your access, your truth. You gave them the weapon, and when the reward was high enough, they used it. Their loyalty expired the moment someone else offered a better future. Because loyalty, in this world, is never permanent. It is conditional, rented, fragile. And if you failed to control the board, if you let your emotions lead, then you were being moved like a pawn, not playing like a king. This is the harsh law of power. You either learn to play the game with precision, or you will be played by those who already do. Control or be controlled. There is no mercy for the unaware, only lessons, paid in scars. And now that you've seen the truth, the only question that remains is, will you keep handing out the knife? Or will you finally learn how to sit at the table, holding it,